The information suggests a strategic pivot from Nikon. Rather than simply chasing higher megapixel counts, the Z9 Mark II appears designed to solve the two biggest bottlenecks in modern imaging: dynamic range versus speed, and cinema workflow versus stills ergonomics. The acquisition of Red Digital Cinema by Nikon is not resulting in a mere branding exercise. It is driving a fundamental architectural change in the camera's image pipeline. Internal REDCODE RAW. The most significant rumor is the inclusion of internal REDCODE RAW recording. Currently, shooting high-end cinema RAW often requires external recorders or bulky setups. The dedicated NPU. The transcript mentions a specialized neural processing unit, NPU, for data compression. This suggests the Z9 Mark II will have a dedicated chip solely for encoding high bitrate video, separate from the main image processor. This alleviates the bottleneck that typically causes overheating or buffer limitations in hybrid cameras. Color science at the silicon level. By integrating Red's color science into the hardware, Nikon aims to offer the Hollywood look, specifically the highlight roll-off and skin tone retention, natively. This allows DPs, directors of photography, to use a Z9 Mark II as a B camera or crash cam alongside Red cinema cameras without needing extensive color grading to match the footage. The industry has been divided between stacked CMOS, great dynamic range, but suffers from rolling shutter, and global shutter, zero distortion, but historically lower dynamic range and higher noise. The rumored solution. The Z9 Mark II is rumored to feature a hybrid sensor mode. Mode A, traditional stacked, utilizes a standard 45, 50 MP readout for maximum dynamic range, likely 14+ stops for landscapes, portraits, and cinema work. Mode B, high-speed action, engages a specialized readout method that mimics a global shutter. This would allow for flash sync at any shutter speed and zero distortion during high-speed pans, perfect for sports and wildlife. Why this matters? If Nikon successfully implements this, they offer a best of both worlds camera, whereas competitors like the Sony A9 III users to accept a dynamic range penalty permanently in exchange for global shutter speed. Current autofocus systems rely on subject recognition, identifying a bird, a car, or a human. The Z9 Mark II's XP8 processor moves to predictive modeling. Deep learning prediction. The rumored system analyzes the velocity and trajectory of a subject to calculate where it will be 2 frames in the future. Use case. In high-speed sports, e.g., a striker kicking a ball, the subject often moves out of the focal plane faster than the lens motors can react. By predicting the movement, the lens begins focusing on the future position before the subject actually arrives there. Zero miss-hit rate. This technology aims to eliminate the tiny fraction of soft images that occur during erratic movement. Pushing 8K at 120 frames per second generates immense heat. The Z9 Mark II effectively re-engineers the camera body into a heat dissipation tool. Chassis as heat sink. The magnesium alloy body is designed with thermal pathways to draw heat away from the sensor and processor. Silent active cooling. The rumor of silent internal fan, borrowed from cinema lines, is critical. Passive cooling, like in the current Z9, has limits. Active cooling ensures that a wildlife photographer in the Sahara or a doc filmmaker in the tropics can shoot continuously without thermal shutdown. Electronic viewfinders, EVF, have historically lagged behind optical viewfinders, OVF, in terms of realism. 9 million / 240 Hz. This specification effectively exceeds the resolution the human eye can discern at that distance. A 240 Hz refresh rate eliminates motion blur in the viewfinder when panning quickly, solving the disorientation some photographers feel with electronic finders. Speed isn't just about capture, it's about delivery. Wi-Fi 7. This allows for gigabit-level wireless transfer speeds. Photojournalists at the Olympics could theoretically transmit huge RAW files to editors instantly without Ethernet cables. Gen 4 CF Express. Doubling the write speeds ensures the buffer clears instantly, even when shooting 8K RAW or 120 frames per second stills.